Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Melissa Crafter. If you're new here, I upload weekly tumbler tutorials where I help you create epoxy-free tumblers. In this week's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I created this V-split tumbler. This V-split tumbler was inspired by Mayra Makes It. She's also here on YouTube. I'll go ahead and link her channel down below. Her videos are amazing. So if that's something that you're interested in, please continue watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down in the comment section. And thank you guys so much for watching. So I started off with a prep tumbler. I do have a video on how I prep my stainless steel tumblers. I'll go ahead and link it right here on the right hand corner as well as in the video description. I'm going to be using this permanent pattern vinyl. I did purchase this vinyl off mycraftsource.com. I know Expressions Vinyl also has a bunch of pattern vinyls that are absolutely beautiful. I love working with pattern vinyls because they add such a nice touch to your tumblers and they don't require a lot of work. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap my entire tumbler in the vinyl just as if I was to be making a full wrap tumbler. I then later on go in and cut out the V shape. But first I'm going to go ahead and wrap my entire tumbler in the vinyl. To do that, I'm just going to go ahead and rip off a small piece of the backing, a whole line of the backing. That way I can have a start point with the vinyl, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it as straight as I can place it. And then I'm going to begin to wrap my tumbler in the vinyl completely. To start adhering my vinyl to my cup, what I'm doing is just kind of pressing down up against the vinyl as I am rolling my cup. While I'm doing this, I'm also pulling out the backing of the vinyl. I found that if I go ahead and adhere the middle part of my cup to the vinyl first and then push out towards the ends of the cup, you get less air bubbles. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just going in with doing the middle part first and then pushing any of the air bubbles out towards each of the ends of the cup. This does take some time to get done, but just take your time. That way you get less air bubbles formed within your cup. Just go ahead and adhere that middle part and then go ahead and push towards the top and the bottom of the tumbler to go ahead and adhere that part while also pushing out any air bubbles that you might see forming. And don't be afraid to lift off the vinyl and re-adhere it. If you do see a big air bubble that formed, go ahead and lift it and then go ahead and re-adhere it. That's totally fine to do. You can probably see me doing that a little bit up ahead. But just go ahead and continue doing this until you finish wrapping your entire tumbler in the vinyl. Where both of my vinyl ends meet, I'm going to go ahead and push down on that part right there, just so that I can see that start point where the vinyl started, and that's exactly where I'm going to go ahead and cut. You can't see it in this video, but you can definitely see a line once you do adhere that part very well. You'll see that where that line starts. So that's exactly where I'm going to cut, and I'm going to know that that's exactly where both of my vinyl ends are going to meet. Once I slice at that line there, I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess vinyl, and both of my vinyl ends are going to meet perfectly right there. So now that my tumbler is fully wrapped in my vinyl, I'm going to go in with a needle and I'm going to go ahead and pop any of the air bubbles that did form and I wasn't able to catch. I'm just going to go ahead and do just a tiny little hole and I'm going to push the air bubbles out. Again, you can do this with an Xacto knife. Just make a little hole and then go ahead and push the air bubbles out. To do the top, I'm going to go ahead and push my vinyl inside of my cup while just kind of pulling it a little bit. That way I know it's well adhered to my rim. I'm going to go ahead and push the vinyl in, as well as the vinyl down at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and push that in. Don't worry if your vinyl here begins to overlap, as long as your vinyl is well adhered near the edge of the bottom of the cup. That's what you need to focus on. Just kind of make sure that you don't have any overlapping going on near the edge, and you'll be fine, and you will end up cutting all the excess, that vinyl down there that ended up overlapping. Now to clean off my rim, I'm going to go ahead and push down towards the rim, on the rim of my cup, cutting it with my knife. I'm going to just go all the way around, pushing down towards the rim, and it'll make the perfect cut. And then I'm going to go and cut the bottom. I'm just going to kind of go in a circle and just cut it as best as I could. I am going to end up painting this and adding glitter down here, so don't worry about making the circle too perfect. So now I'm going to be cutting out my V shape. To do that, I'm going to be using painter's tape. I'm going to go ahead and add my painter's tape to kind of guide me on where I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to be adding my V shape on the opposite end of where my vinyl ends met. And I just did a little split right here using my Xacto knife, just to kind of guide me on where I want my V to start. And it all depends on how high or low you do want your V shape to go. And then I'm just kind of wrapping it all the way towards the back of the tumbler where both of my vinyl ends met. You are then going to do the same thing to the other side. Like I said, just kind of determine how low you want your V shape to go, and then that's where you're going to want to add your tape. And then, like I said, do the same thing, just wrap it towards the back of the tumbler where both ends met. And then just kind of tuck that in towards the inside of the cup. The tape is going to act as a guide, and that's exactly where we're going to be cutting to cut out that V shape on the vinyl. Using your Xacto knife, you're going to first want to make sure you have a very sharp Xacto knife. If you're using an older one that isn't that sharp, you want to go ahead and change it to a new one. And you're going to first cut out those excess pieces of tape and make a perfect V shape right there. And then going in with your Xacto knife, you're just going to kind of want to go along the lines of the tape to cut out that V shape. You do want to be sure that you're cutting down hard enough to where you are getting through the vinyl. You can feel when you're cutting on the stainless steel, that's how you know that you are cutting through the vinyl. Since we are trying to slice out this V shape, you do want to be sure that you're cutting down hard enough to where you're going to be able to rip that V shape part out. So you're going to want to continue doing that, cutting alongside the tape, using the tape as your guide and just cutting along the lines. Once you are done cutting along the tape, you can go ahead and remove that excess vinyl and expose your V shape. Now that I have my V shape cut out on my vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and base coat that stainless steel part that was exposed on my tumbler. I'm going to go ahead and base coat that part using Universal White from the Crystal company. To add this, I'm going to go ahead and add it using a small Taklon brush, and I am going to go ahead and stir it first. I did end up adding 2 coats of Universal White, and I did wait 2 to 4 hours in between each coat. I did go ahead and tape off my tumbler to just leave that V shape exposed. That way I can add my Universal White just to the stainless steel part. After adding my first coat of Universal White, I did allow it to dry for 2 to 4 hours. And then I added a second coat, and then as the same thing, I let it dry for 2 to 4 hours before I went in and added my glitter. I did add Universal White on the V shape, and I also added it on the bottom of my tumbler. Now that my Universal White is dry, I'm going to go ahead and add my glitter. To add my glitter, I'm going to be using the Crystalac glitter glue. I just was able to get my hands on it when they had their sale just a couple weeks ago. So I was super excited to use the glitter glue, and let me just say it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to go ahead and tape off my tumbler again. This is definitely optional. I'm just very messy, so I go ahead and tape it off. That way I don't get it on any of my vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and tape it off. That way I can add my glitter glue without having to worry about adding it to my vinyl as well. I added a white base coat where I was going to add my glitter since I was going to be using a white glitter. It's recommended to match your base coat color to your glitter. That way you can hopefully only need 1 coat of glitter. So here I'm just going to add a line of the glitter glue directly from the bottle and then spreading it using a Taklon brush. I do want to be sure to go ahead and spread that out evenly. That way I don't have any streaks on my glitter. I'm going to be using this white glitter called Snow White. They are from Tom Thumb Glitters. I was sent these glitters and they are very high quality solvent resistant glitters. You can check them out on Etsy. I'll go ahead and link them down below. And you can use the promo code MelissaCrafter10 at checkout for 10% off. Now that I added my glitter, I'm going to go ahead and take off my tape. As you can see, now that I'm removing my tape, the lines are very crisp and they are perfectly straight. And the glitter is only added on that V shape that we cut out. And I'm also going to be doing the bottom, adding just a little bit straight out of the glitter glue bottle. And I'm going to spread it out evenly using my Taklon brush. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my glitter to the bottom. Once I add my glitter, I'm going to go ahead and allow my glitter glue to dry for 2 hours. Glitter glue only requires you to allow it to dry for 2 hours. Since I did match my base coat to my glitter, I did only need 1 coat of glitter. If you were need a second coat, you just allow your first coat of glitter to dry for the 2 hours, and then you go ahead and add your glitter glue and then add your second coat of glitter, and then the same thing, allow it to dry for 2 hours. Now that I've allowed that to dry for 2 hours, I'm going to go and seal my glitter. To seal my glitter, I'm going to be also using a glitter glue. It's awesome that we can also use the glitter glue to seal our glitter versus having to use E6000. The glitter glue can be used as a sealant over glitter, and it keeps it in place, and it acts as a barrier coat in between the glitter and the top coat. To seal your glitter with glitter glue, you're going to want to just add some glitter glue onto where you have your glitter, and then dip your brush into some water and then tap off any excess water. That way your brush isn't dripping or anything like that. Go ahead and just tap off any excess water, and then using that wet damp brush, you're going to want to go ahead and spread out your glitter glue with your brush. Dipping your brush into the water and having a damp brush just helps to spread the glitter glue a little bit better. Don't forget to also seal the glitter that you added at the bottom of your tumbler. Go ahead and do the same thing. Just add a little bit of glitter glue, and then using your damp brush, go ahead and spread that out. The glitter glue does need 2 hours of dry time, but after 1 hour, you can go ahead and flatten your glitter using parchment paper the same way as you would if you were using E6000. After the first hour, you can go ahead and get some parchment paper and then roll and smush or flatten down your glitter using parchment paper. Using your table to go ahead and apply pressure to just try to flatten the glitter as much as you can. That way, this helps with needing less coats of bright tone. I did only seal and flatten my glitter once, and I felt that that was enough to where my glitter was in place, and I wasn't going to have any glitter fallout when adding bright tone. You can repeat this step again if you do have some glitter fallout, especially if you're doing like chunky glitter. Since this was fine glitter, I felt that my glitter was well sealed with just sealing it once, but you can definitely do it again. I would definitely, if I was using a chunkier glitter, go ahead and wait the additional hour to allow it to dry, and then repeat the same steps again with sealing my glitter. Once the glitter is dried on my cup, I'm going to go ahead and start coating my cup using Bright Tone from the Crystalac company. You can purchase Bright Tone from the crystalacstore.com. I'll also have it linked down below if you guys want to check it out. But it is a water-based non-toxic top coat. Since it is non-toxic, you don't need any PPE while using it. It does have a 30-day cure time, but after 5 to 7 days, the cup is okay to use, of course, following proper care instructions. Here I transferred my Bright Tone from the gallon to this condiment bottle, and I'm going to go ahead and begin coating my cup with Bright Tone, just adding thin coats of Bright Tone. Every coat is added the same, just a thin coat, just enough to where your cup isn't dripping. Just add your coat very quickly. You don't have to overwork your cup. After adding your coat, you just do want to allow it to spin for an hour and then dry for an additional 3 hours. I don't film every coat that I give my cup just because every coat is added the same, but you're going to continue coating until your glitter is fully covered and your cup is smooth. You do want to be sure to sand your cup every 3 to 4 coats of Bright Tone. This helps with smoothing out your cup. That way you require less coats of Bright Tone to achieve a glossy cup. After you do sand your cup, you want to take it back inside. You don't want to wash it. You just want to kind of wipe it down with a lint-free cloth and then continue coating with Bright Tone. So here I brought my cup back inside. I wiped it off with a lint-free cloth, and I'm just going to continue coating with Bright Tone until my cup is smooth enough. I do end up adding some strips on my V-split here. So I am just going to continue coating until my cup is smooth enough to where I can add that. You don't want to add any decals or any vinyl onto your cup on top of the glitter until your glitter is smooth enough. If you do, then your vinyl will be bumpy. So you just want to continue coating until your cup is smooth enough to where you can add any decals on top of the glitter. Again, every coat is added the same. Just add a thin coat of Bright Tone, allow your cup to spin for an hour, and then dry for an additional 3 hours to total 4 hours of dry time. Really quick, while my cup is drying, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I did the strips that I added to my cup. I did a thicker strip and then a thinner strip. To do that, I am gonna be I did cut them out using my Cricut Explorer Air 2, and I'm using Design Space. I went ahead and inserted a shape on the left hand corner. I added a square, and then I'm going to go ahead and resize the thicker strip to 0.3 for the width and then 9 for the height. And then to do the thinner one, I went ahead and also inserted a shape. I did change the color just so that I know which one was going to be the thicker one and the thinner one. The thinner one, I did do 0.125 for the width and then 9 for the height. And I'm going to be placing the thinner strip on top of the thicker strip. And then I was going to need 4 of each. So I went ahead and clicked duplicate on each one and made sure that I had 4. Here I'm just grouping them together, that way I can have them together, and then I went ahead and duplicated the thinner ones, and now I'm ready to cut them out using my Cricut Explorer 2. To do the strips, I am using this coral color vinyl as well as this holographic silver color that I purchased both off Expressions vinyl. So now that my cup is smooth enough, I'm gonna go ahead and add my vinyl strips that I cut out earlier using my Cricut Explorer 2. These are definitely optional. You don't have to add these. I just added them to add a pop of color to my cup, but you can definitely just continue coating and leave the cup as is. Continue coating with bright tone until you're satisfied with your gloss finish. You can also use this crafting tape. It is a washi tape that I purchased off Michael's. I purchased this after I had already cut out my strips, but it's definitely an option that if you want to add some strips and don't have a cutting machine, you can definitely use these. They come in different colors and so many options. These here that I bought are just kind of like a holographic, different holographic type of washi tapes, and they come in a couple of sizes. That's what I love about this cup, that you can definitely make this type of cup without needing any type of cutting machine. I know they can be pricey and not everyone has a Cricut or a Silhouette or anything like that. So you can definitely make this type of cup without needing any type of cutting machine. So here I'm going to begin to add my strips. I'm starting at the back end of my cup, and then I'm just kind of putting the strip along where the glitter starts. I'm putting it exactly where the glitter starts and not on top of the glitter, just so that I can have as much of the glitter exposed as I could. And then I'm lifting, if I kind of go wrong, a little bit wrong, I'm kind of lifting it and then readjusting it. And then I'm going to continue doing this along where my glitter starts on the other end. And I'm starting off with the thicker strip that I cut out. And then I'm going to put the thinner holographic vinyl strip on the middle. And then I'm doing the same with the inner corner. I'm just going to start at the top and then work my way down to the bottom, placing the vinyl along where the glitter starts. Here you can see that I kind of went off a little bit and then I just removed it. Just be careful when you're removing it. You definitely don't want to bring up any of your previous bright tone coat. If you do make a mistake and lift it, just try to lift it up slowly. Here the video is sped up, but I did take my time lifting that part when I did mess up. Just lift it up very slowly, making sure that you don't pull off any of your bright tone coat. Here I'm going in with a brand new Xacto knife blade just to be sure that I have a very sharp blade to cut off the excess vinyl strips that were left over. So I'm just cutting along with where the glitter is to kind of meet that same pattern of the V shape, and then removing any of the excess vinyl pieces. You do want to be sure to have a very sharp blade. That way when you cut out the vinyl, you make sure you cut out that perfect V shape that follows along with your glitter. And here I am cutting and then removing the underneath piece. That way the vinyls can meet instead of overlapping, if that makes sense. That way you won't see any overlapping of the vinyl underneath the bright tone. Then to do the rim part, I just went ahead and tucked it underneath and then cut along the rim of the cup, and then you're able to cut out any of the excess vinyl strip that was left over. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the holographic vinyl strips. I'm going to be sure to place them very slowly and make sure that they are very centered. The video obviously is sped up and it looks like I'm doing it quickly, but I did take my time on this. I wanted it to be very centered, and then I'm cutting the excess off, any of the excess vinyl strip that was left over to make sure I make that perfect V shape. Now that I have added my strips, I'm going to continue coating with Bright Tone until I am satisfied with my gloss finish. It did take a couple more coats of Bright Tone to cover up the vinyl that I added. But yeah, you just continue coating until you are satisfied with your gloss finish. Every coat is added the same. Add a thin coat of Bright Tone, allow it to spin for an hour, and then dry for an additional 3 hours. That is what you do for each coat of Bright Tone until you are satisfied with your finish.